Ah, there you are. The night leans in again, and so do you. Welcome back to the fire. Its glow has missed you, and the wind remembers your name. Every ember holds a memory, every flicker a whispered truth. And tonight, it offers the next part of the story, one you felt coming, haven't you? The part where the dream becomes a journey. Last we spoke, the dreamer had seen the crystal's visions, splintered futures, whispered riddles, a hand offering flame. But visions, as powerful as they are not the destination. They are a beginning. And when the flame was accepted, something shifted. The path beneath the dreamer's feet began to form, faint at first, like starlight drawn in dust. And then, like breath on glass, the way began to reveal itself with every forward step. They awoke with purpose burning quietly behind their ribs. It wasn't loud, it wasn't urgent, but it was insistent. The kind of purpose that hums when the world goes still. So, they left. Not with fanfare, not with goodbyes, just a step and then another. The village barely stirred as they departed, as if the world itself knew the journey was not a departure, but a return to something older than memory. The first trial was hidden in the ordinary, a crossroads in the forest where paths split in 4 directions, each identical. No sign, no guide, but in their chest, the pendant pulsed once. They remembered the oracle's words, trust the silence. So, they closed their eyes and listened. No birds, no wind, just a heartbeat. And one path seemed to echo it. The path felt wrong at first, uneven, root-bound, veiled in fog. But something within whispered, go. They followed. The trail narrowed. Roots tangled like fingers. Fog clung to the ground. Soon, the dreamer came to a clearing ringed in stones. At its center stood a tree, withered, hollow, but not dead. Beneath it sat a creature, cloaked in feathers and dust. Its eyes were too old, too knowing. You seek the flame's path, it croaked. But will you burn or illuminate? The creature posed 3 riddles, not in words, but in images. The creature posed 3 riddles, not in words, but in images, smoke swirling into symbols, light dancing in shapes. The dreamer didn't answer with speech, but with memory, a moment of compassion, a choice to wait, a time they had walked away. The tree stirred, the creature bowed, and the path opened again. The second trial rose from stone, a ruined temple forgotten by maps, buried in ivy. The dreamer entered with caution. The walls whispered names that weren't theirs. Symbols etched in moss pulsed with faint recognition. This trial was of memory, walking through halls where echoes took form. They saw themselves, younger, lost, ashamed. Each chamber showed a moment they wished forgotten, but to pass, They had to enter each one, to face it, not to fix it, just to witness. Even when tears came, they did not turn away. Each step forward was a step through time, and in those steps, healing began. Not as a wave, but as a quiet thread woven back into soul. At the final door, a mirror awaited, not of glass, but still water. Their reflection waited, but changed, wiser, older, not yet real. They touched the surface. It rippled. The room trembled, but the door opened. The third trial tested trust. A bridge hung over a chasm with no bottom. Boards rotted, ropes frayed. Wind howled like wolves. Midway across, a voice called out. Not behind, not ahead, but within. Do you doubt? Yes, they did. But they kept walking. The bridge snapped as they reached the end, not with violence, but with release. It had held only as long as needed. Sometimes faith is not in safety, but in motion, in taking one more step when reason begs stillness. The fourth trial came in stillness, a cave carved by no hand, where sound refused to enter. Here, they were meant to sit. For how long? The oracle hadn't said. No riddles, no visions, just silence. The kind that presses against skin. The kind that shows you what you've hidden. Time passed. Hours? Days? They did not know. But in that void, something bloomed. A memory of a lullaby. A name they had forgotten. The sound of their own breath, steady and patient. When they stood again, the cave gave way. Their steps echoed with a softness that hadn't been there before. The fifth trial was one of letting go. A river ran across their path, black as ink, still as glass. In the center floated a boat. Inside, memories they had clung to, objects, people, moments, all bound in golden thread. To cross, they had to release each one, gently, with reverence. Each item placed into the water was a farewell and a thank you, not erasure, honoring. They did. The river took each memory like a parent takes a child's drawing, grateful, unjudging. When the last was gone, the boat carried them across. On the other side stood the oracle. Her cloak of mist was gone. She wore no crown, no jewels, only eyes full of knowing. You walk well, she said, but there is one trial left. It was not a place, it was a question. She looked into their eyes. Why do you walk this path? They tried to answer. Words failed. Truth flickered. They thought of power, of destiny, of fear, but none held. Then they said nothing, and in that silence the answer rose, not in speech, but in being, in presence. The oracle smiled. You are ready, she said, not because you are finished, but because you have begun. The path behind them vanished. The one ahead remained shrouded. But now the dreamer did not fear it. Each step was no longer a question, but a conversation. Each breath, a promise. They returned not as the one who left, but as one shaped by passage. The trees whispered differently now. The stones hummed. Even the sky seemed to lean a little closer. They walked through their village unseen, not because they were invisible, but because they had become something more. A vessel of prophecy, a keeper of flame. And now, here we are, the fire low, the night thick around us. The story stirs the coals. Trials have been walked, lessons earned, not given, and perhaps you too feel the weight of questions, or the quiet tug of paths not yet taken. Maybe your own trials wait. Maybe the flame already flickers behind your ribs. Maybe the wind carries your name into the roots of tomorrow. And maybe when you dream tonight, you'll remember where to begin.